How many of you can say you are a good leader? What have you done to hone your leadership skills? The Okinawa Staff Non-Commissioned Officer Academy helps hone leaders' skills and perfect the art of leading. The mission of the Academy in this 5.5-week course is to help prepare leaders for billets of higher responsibility. The Okinawa Staff Non-Commissioned Officer Academy's mantra is, "One leader at a time, we will stimulate the mind, motivate the body, and educate the leader." Good morning. My name is Kevin Stansel, and I'll be giving you an unclassified informational speech on the Okinawa Staff Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. The purpose of this speech is to familiarize you with the Staff Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, what we do, how we do it, and what we do for our leaders. Throughout this informative speech, most of my information was derived straight off the Enlisted Professional Military Education website, under the Staff Only tab, which is CAC enabled. All classes, class hours, content I'll speak on was attained through this site. Stimulation. The first portion of our mantra states, we will stimulate the mind. This is achieved through numerous topics over a numerous plot of hours. 69.5 hours is spent on warfighting. That's through the Marine Corps planning process, the Mystic training, combat orders, where we take a leader, we put them in a leadership position, and they lead Marines in a combat scenario. 61 hours is spent on leadership. That's sitting amongst other leaders, talking about subjects such as sphere of influence, commander's leadership philosophy, and things that leaders can learn from other leaders on. 10 hours is spent on the unit readiness planning process, and 10 hours is spent on training. These two subjects are tied together to help a Marine understand how to prepare for, execute, and make a training schedule at their command. 20 hours is spent on communication and administration, and 33 hours is on professional study time. These are all hours allocated to the Marine so they can take it upon themselves and study all these subjects. When they're tested, they can pass on a mastery, non-mastery base. Now that we talked about stimulation, let's move on to motivation. The second portion of the mantra states that we will motivate the body. We achieve this through 38.5 hours of rigorous and progressive PT programs. It's a crawl, walk, run method, which means we start with not so easy, not so hard PT, and we progress to harder PT. It's all combat conditioning. There's 28 different PT sessions, some of which are the O course, a combat casualty course, a casualty evac course, rifle PT circuit, strength, speed, and agility circuits, many other circuits that focus on combat conditioning, preparing a Marine to be a combat leader. Now that we talked about motivation, let's move on to education. The final portion of our mantra states, we will educate the leader. This is more of a mentoring skill honing process, and it's tied with Socratic, lecture method, group, and peer teaching. The whole group of students engages each other on all these levels. All information discussed and learned is tested. They're tested on a performance evaluation testing basis. There's 69.5 hours of performance evaluation testing. This is all a hands-on, subjectively graded, real-world experience testing cycle where the faculty advisors teach, execute with, and grade the papers of the subjects being taught. In closing, when a leader's time at the Staff NCO Academy is finished, they're refreshed, recharged, and have an abundance of new knowledge on topics they'll no doubt continue to engage and apply at their parent commands. A better leader is returned to the force, so that our Corps may remain strong for the future. Stimulated, motivated, and educated, the leader is now expected to pass the torch to the next generation of Marine leaders.